Donald Trump is panicking as the boycott of the State of the Union is getting bigger. MeidasTouch Network is hosting the official boycott. We now have about 20 members of Congress, senators, and House of Representative members who are not going to be attending the State of the Union. They will be at the MeidasTouch event in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump will be seeing a lot of empty seats there at the State of the Union, and I'm glad the MeidasTouch Network is a part of that and distributing the boycott called the People's State of the Union with Move On. Donald Trump is also panicking because he is getting some disastrous polling numbers as well. And one poll that he has always feared the most, the latest YouGov poll shows that from the latest sample of Americans, by a huge margin, people believe that former President Biden did a much better job as president than Donald Trump, 49 to 41%, although I think that number should be significantly higher. Also, in a generic ballot based on what the Republican pollsters are saying. These are Trump and MAGA's pollsters. They're called Big Data. They have Democrats up 53% to 41% in a generic ballot for the midterms. That would be a wipeout for MAGA, a blue tsunami that really has very little historic precedent in just the sheer size and scope. I know that midterms you've seen some shakeups, but this could be a real historic one, crushing Donald Trump's term as well as he gets weaker and weaker and loses more support each day. Speaking about losing support, take a look at this latest New York Times article. MAHA, Make America Healthy Again moms turn against Donald Trump. Women feel like they were lied to. You think? That's the headline from New York Times. Trump's executive order aimed at spurring production of a pesticide has infuriated leaders of Health Security Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s MAHA movement. Interesting way that the New York Times puts it. Spurring production of a pesticide. You mean putting pesticide in our foods and getting us killed, as Vaniari says. So Baer convinced the president to sign an executive order that labels glyphosate-based herbicides as critical to national defense and national security. The order looks like it was ghostwritten by Baer and repeats the same industry talking points that have kept us reliant on a chemical-driven farming system. And the immunity clause that Donald Trump put in this executive order, it's going to raise some serious questions about all of these lawsuits and judgments that are against Baer for their Roundup product when they acquired the predecessor company in all of those the litigation that links glyphosate to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and other kind of cancers. And so, you know, MAGA and MAHA and all these things, it's such a fraud, right? They told people we're going to make sure that we get these pesticides out of food. They're putting it into the food. This was always their plan, though. They were never about make America healthy again. They were about stealing your money, taking your things, taking away your health care, taking away your money, and shifting it over to them and their right-wing oligarch friends. That's what it was about. And you have Donald Trump trying to do new distractions as more information comes out about the Epstein files. I mean, obviously, yesterday we know that Andrew, formerly Prince Andrew, never should have been a prince at all to begin with, he was arrested by British authorities in connection with conspiracy of giving classified or confidential information over to Epstein. So you had that taking place in his connection to the Epstein files. By the way, yesterday as well, you had the former president of South Korea, President Yoon, sentenced to life in prison for trying to launch an insurrection there. And what do you have Donald Trump trying to do to distract from the Epstein files and some of the new revelations? Les Wexner's deposition. Oh my God, was Les Wexner's deposition for Trump and MAGA and Les Wexner, who was a big Republican donor. Woof. Was that deposition disastrous? And Donald, you can try to put big billboards of yourself like Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin on the Department of Justice, but the American people aren't buying your crap no more. This is what Donald Trump really did. Look, he put another billboard of himself on the Department of Justice building. Yeah, it's full-blown North Korea vibes as Wu-Tang for the children, right? And I mean, to me, it's Adolf Hitler vibes, it's Stalin vibes, it's just straight up authoritarian vibes. But here's what Donald Trump posted arrested. And then Pete Hegseth, one of the most unserious human beings and the worst leaders imaginable, not even a leader at all, he posts alien emoji and then salute emoji to Donald Trump saying, based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, and unidentified flying objects, and any and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. God bless America. By the way, this has been done before. There have been hearings on this before. We want the Epstein files. You know, the 50 terabytes you're still hiding. I'd love to learn about the aliens. I really would. You could do both. How about you do both? Release the alien files and the other 50 terabytes of filth that you're hiding. The terabytes that's even worse than the information that you've already released. And what you've released is sickening. The accusations against you, Donald, are absolutely disgusting and grotesque. But also release the 50 terabytes that you're hiding, which we know is even worse than what has been released thus far. Speaking of some of the information that we're now learning about, Al Jazeera did a good report yesterday. The Epstein files, reveal that Epstein was offered a chance to buy the U.S. Pentagon and FBI buildings. Well, not the actual Pentagon building itself, but surrounding buildings right near the Pentagon. And Epstein was very close to becoming a landlord of the Department of Defense during Donald Trump's first term. Al Jazeera reports that new files show how Epstein, who had close ties to Israel, was offered sensitive U.S. government real estate deals towards the end of his life. So these emails released showed that Epstein had a chance of buying into a sprawling building tied to the DOD in 2016, Department of Defense, an 84,000 square meter complex located right by the Pentagon, about a mile away, a little less than a mile away. It was described in an investor deck to Epstein as a mission critical site and the only property in Arlington, Virginia, other than the Pentagon itself, with the ability to meet the space and infrastructure needs of the Department of Defense. That's what Epstein was being offered. I mean, how utterly reprehensible is that? I want to share this with you as well, though, and I want to talk about it because, as you know, media literacy to me is very important, and the way the media tries to manipulate people is very important for me to flag. So this was brought to my attention yesterday. This is from ABC World News Tonight with David Muir. This was last night. Here's how they describe what Donald Trump said on Air Force One yesterday about Andrew when Andrew was arrested. You'll hear that they say Donald Trump has never been accused of wrongdoing in the Epstein files. This is how ABC frames the issue because they're so scared of Donald Trump. So just listen carefully to what ABC says here. Play this clip.
President Trump, who had a long friendship with Epstein and is mentioned throughout the Epstein files, though not accused of any wrongdoing, says his thoughts are with the royal family.
I think it's a shame. I think it's very sad.
I don't know about you, but when I hear that, I hope that's one of the reasons why you come here to the MeidasTouch Network. Of course he was accused in the Epstein files. I've read for you the accusations. There's multiple accusations. Accusers who been interviewed multiple times by the FBI, and those reports are missing. There are multiple people who have made accusations against Donald Trump. Donald Trump's been found civilly liable for sexual assault. Donald Trump has made accusations against himself, right? I mean, he's on audio saying that he sexually assaults women because he's rich and you get away with it. He says he grabs women by their vaginas. And because he's rich, he says you get away with it. He says he inspected girls naked at his beauty pageants because he was the leader of the beauty pageants. And that's what you get to do when you lead beauty pageants. You have those facts. You have the fact that he was found civilly liable for sexual assault. I mean, that's utterly we're just going to ignore it. Mar-a-Lago was used as the site of sex trafficking. It's where Virginia Giuffre was sex trafficked. ABC, you're doing a report on Andrew. Andrew had numerous accusations against him, credible accusations from Virginia Giuffre and others. And so you don't think you should report that Mar-a-Lago was the site of sex trafficking? Is that too difficult for you to make that report or to say those things? I showed you how ABC said it. Now, I just want to show you the clip just so you can see for yourself of Donald Trump on Air Force One, where he is saying that he feels bad. That's what he said yesterday, right? That he felt bad for Andrew and the royal family, but says nothing about the survivors. Play this clip.
I got a question about something big overseas today. The former Prince Andrew arrested by the police there, related to something with Jeffrey Epstein. Do you think people in this country at some point, associates of Jeffrey Epstein, will wind up in handcuffs too?
Well, you know, I'm the expert in a way because I've been totally exonerated. That's very nice. So I can actually speak about it very nicely. I think it's a shame. I think it's very sad. I think it's so bad for the royal family. It's a very, very sad. To me, it's a very sad thing. When I see that, it's a very sad thing to see it and to see what's going on with his brother, who's obviously coming to our country very soon, and he's a fantastic man, the king. So I think it's a very sad thing. It's really interesting because nobody used to speak about Epstein when he was alive, but now they speak. But I'm the one that can talk about it because I've been totally exonerated. I did nothing. In fact, the opposite. He was against me. He was fighting me in the election, which I just found out through the last 3 million pages of documents. Yeah, please.
Well, I want to highlight what the survivors are saying. Here's what the survivors are saying. Let's play this clip.
And so to Mr. Lex Wexner, I will say it on behalf of Virginia. You know what you did. I know what you did, and only one of us is telling the truth, and we know that's Virginia. Mm-hmm. And so go back to her depositions and stop acting confused. How about somebody come forward and take some ownership for once? I believe my sister. I believe that her allegations, her memory was very clear. I know that from her lawyers, her statements, the way that she was able to come forward so bravely. There's a reason she's the face of survivors right now, and all her survivor sisters are coming to support her because she paved the way through. Mr. Wexner, you got some serious answers, okay? You got some serious questions to answer right now, and I hope you do. And we need to dig a little bit further now. So I believe my sister.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, the rot runs so deep in this despicable regime. Labor Secretary Lori Chavez DeRemer, who's under investigation for her own very serious misconduct, like taking these weird trips to Vegas and allegation of affairs and using taxpayer money to gallivant around the country and just being abusive to her staff. Well, her husband has been barred from entering the Labor Department headquarters after 2 female staffers have accused him of sexual assault inside the building, with one alleged incident was captured on security cameras and is now part of an ongoing criminal investigation. You have Kristi Noem and Corey Lewandowski, who are alleged to be having an affair. She obviously runs the Department of Homeland Security, that's ICE and Border Patrol, that terrorize and torture the American citizens, American people. Well, they're out there gallivanting around in a Boeing jet, $70 million private jet that taxpayers are paying for. And now they're leasing it, and now they want to buy a $70 million jet. You have Kash Patel flying to Milan on his private jet, or our private jet, so that he could watch the Olympic Games. I mean, what Lewandowski and Noem's private jet has like this bed on it. By the way, you have ICE agents in Portland bragging about sexually assaulting people, and they're saying like, oh, someone said, you grabbed her breasts, and then the ICE agent's like, oh, did she like it? Did she like it? I mean, you have to understand this is a perverted cabal regime that covers up for pedos, that has pedos in it. This is a despicable, disgusting regime. Here, I'll just play you the clip of the ICE agent here. Let's play this clip.
She grabbed my dick! That's the one that grabbed my dick! She full didn't grab me! Is that funny? She full didn't grab me! What the f***? Did she like it? Did she like it? Say it again.
I don't know, ask her.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you were crying in there. Yeah, I remember you shivering and crying.
Wow. Anyway, make sure you watch the People's State of the Union that we're going to be having here on the MeidasTouch Network. Tune in there. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you so much, and have a good one.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.